Hi, I'm Charles Lerner, the Executive Director of At the Crossroads since spring of 2019.
My name's Mari. I'm the Director of Development and Communications. I've been with At the Crossroads for about 4.5 years, and that's me.
My name is Tara. I'm the Director of Operations and Finance here at the Crossroads. I've been here about 5.5 years.
Hi, I'm Demaria Miller, Program Director of ATC. I've been with the organization for 6 years.
How are you feeling about the executive transition um, and the organization in general moving into the future?
Well, I'm, obviously a little disappointed Charles is moving on, but ATC is in a really strong place at this point, and I think Charles has carried us as far as he can, and I think it's a great opportunity for someone else to come in and keep pushing us to be bigger and bolder and louder, as Charles would say.
Yeah, I kind of echo what Tara said. Of course, I'm going to miss Charles when he goes, but I don't think we can really ask for more. He's put us in a good place, both financially and kind of in bringing stability to leadership and kind of a lot of autonomy and better practices in how we do things as a program.
When I first started, all three of you were in different roles, and now you're all three in director roles. What's that process been like, and how do you expect to leverage these new roles moving into the future in terms of supporting ATC, taking that next step?
I think Charles mentioned in an email once, I've been take the hat for most titles at ATC. I started as the administrative assistant 5.5 years ago, and now I'm the director of operations and finance. Will be forever grateful for your mentorship these last few years, Charles. You've encouraged me to think critically and to push the boundaries and to prioritize our staff and our clients above everything else. And I will definitely carry that forward after your departure.
I really like being at ATC. I think that ATC has a propensity to do things differently, like in every department. And I love that. I think that it's exciting. It's fun to get to know what the world thinks of as best practices, and then get to turn that on its head sometimes and just try something totally different. So I think it's been really exciting. I've been in the Director of Development and Communications role for about a year and a half or a quarter. And I just hope that whoever we bring on is also excited to keep doing things in a little bit of a different way.
So I think we're all ready to help facilitate that process too. Maybe if the new ED is a little shy, we'll be like, no, we're ready to think big and keep going.
Yeah, I've been thinking about how personality and principles are just as important as experience around fundraising or finance management, which is sort of when you think of traditionally the skill set that we expect for an executive director. My hope is that we can get a community leader, and maybe somebody that would often be overlooked, or maybe not even thinking themselves that they're a good fit for an ED position, but they are, because they've maybe been sent the message that they've hit a ceiling when really they shouldn't hit a ceiling. And a strong leadership team, the strong leadership team we have here at ATC, I think allows us to look for a leader that truly is rooted in the Bay Area, is invested in reform and change in our city and our region, and we need dramatic change. So I'm excited to see how you all move this person into the future. But going back to personality and principles, I'm wondering, why do you think the organization is such a fit for you personally and philosophically?
I've been in the field for over 10 years now, and I've been with ATC for 6 of them. I think one thing that is unique is it's the first place I've ever worked for that had an approach to client work that actually aligned with myself personally. To me, it doesn't make sense to kick people out of programming. It doesn't make sense to work with people facing the most barriers and then give them the most obstacles to achieve outcomes. it also doesn't make sense to really tell people what they want as opposed to letting them tell you. So I think one of the things that kind of keeps me invested in the organization isn't just what we say our mission is, but the fact that we're so aligned with it as a staff.
I came to ATC because of I really loved our approach, the individualized care and support that was directed by the clients, and really letting them drive what their definition of success was. It wasn't a box that we were trying to check for ourselves. It was really letting the clients decide what they needed at that time, and then help them achieve that and whatever they wanted to achieve in the future. And we're there through it all, the ups and downs. That's why I'm still here 5.5 years later.
And so when you think about who your next colleague is and who's going to be the next leader of the organization, what do they look like? What do they act like? What do they sound like? What type of leader are you hoping we'll find?
There's so much potential for At the Crossroads to continue to kind of raise our voice and do the work that we do, but also potentially dip our toes into like bigger systems change, impacting the way that our city approaches all the work that needs to get done. And so I'd be really excited about someone who has is really principled and like can show up in a room and kind of change hearts and minds. Again, I don't know what that looks like, but I think that is going to be important for us to try to not only do our work on the day-to-day, but also try to change the way that different entities around the city approach the work that they do.
I think someone who would continue to prioritize pushing ATC to think critically about our services and how we provide them, and constantly reviewing how we're doing things, why we're doing things, and making sure that we're constantly in alignment with our mission.
Someone that prides client autonomy and helps cultivate leadership on staff. Because I think one thing about our culture that I really enjoy is that there's leadership on all levels. It doesn't just come from Charles. It doesn't just come from the people on this call. Everyone on the team is kind of coached to be a leader and to kind of be able to make those calls with assistance from us. So I hope that we kind of maintain that.
And how would you know, like 3 years from now, that ATC selected the right next executive director?
Most importantly, I think we know because our doors are still open.
That is important.
I think that's the biggest one.
Well, I guess looking back, Charles, you came in and were incredibly patient and decided to take a step back and like learn and listen to the things that had come before you and all the practices, good and bad, that we had in place, and you took it in and then were able to like kind of repeat back what you were seeing and what you were hearing, and asked us to reflect of, is this really where we want to be and what we want to be doing? And I think that not everybody would have done that. And so here we all are now, and all of us are in our positions and have been mentored and grown in partnership with you. So for me, that's how I know.
I think one way I'll know that we're successful is one that that more people have heard about the Crossroads. I think that's been something we've been working on over the last couple of years. From the founding, our founders, with Rob and Taj, and just moving forward. I think we've always done what we do in a very understated and gracious way. We've been so laser focused on supporting our clients, and I don't know any other organization that I've worked for or witnessed that does a better job at it. At the same time, I think there's room for us to grow and get out of our shell, continue to get out of our shell, because at the end of the day, the more change we can create at a macro level and the more we can influence how the city responds to the needs that our clients have, the better off our clients will be. So at the end of the day, staying more internally focused or more at the micro level is what is most important in terms of making sure that our clients get what they need. But we really, I think, would even better serve our youth and young adults that we work with by creating some larger scale change that you all have talked about. So that's one thing that I would I'd love to see. And the other way I'll know we'll be successful is and Tara alluded to this, is that we never move away from our mission and our principles, which is unconditional support, long-term support, because that is really what I think differentiates our organization, is 15, 20-year relationships with people who we are, in many cases, their lifeline, their most trusted, confidant, that we stay with people through the ups and the downs, that we never assume that people are not still going to need support just because they are in a good patch or doing well or housed, that we know that everybody needs that sort of radical compassion and care. All of us need that, and that never changes. So those are a couple of things that I think about.
I think our next leader, what's going to be really important is that they recognize that they're coming into something special. And I think what makes ATC historically something that people have wanted to be a part of and invest their time in is the fact that we're innovative. We're trying to do things differently. We're trying to provide long-term support. We're trying to provide things that you don't have to jump through hoops for. We're trying to provide something that actually causes permanent change, and not just address people's immediate need, which we do through outreach and many of our counseling programs, but also address those long-term needs. And I hope that whoever comes in next kind of recognizes how special that is.